How many zodiac signs are there? Because Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer, counts as number 13.
That's fair. There are actually 13 constellations that are in the path of the sun, which the sun travels each year. But if we're talking about astrology, they only give inheritances to 12 of them. They only count 12 of them, even though there's kind of a 13th kind of halfway in, halfway out. It's a little bit out of position.
What's an inheritance?
If you divide the sky into a circle, it's 360 degrees in a circle, right? They give 30 degrees to each sign.
Makes sense, because I know that Ophiuchus is a little offset. So is he crossing over two of the 30-degree segments?
Yeah, he's in between a couple of them. But what's happening is he's kind of disinherited. And this kind of goes back to the idea of, or I believe that it connects to the idea that's found in the Bible, where there's actually 13 tribes of Israel, but only 12 are given land inheritances. And that's how it is with the Levites. They gave their life to service, but they didn't own portions of land, which they governed or worked on, like the other tribes. They were treated different. They took over the priestly duties of the temple, and they just had a different role. So yes, there's 13 constellations in the area. Astrologers, when they read the skies and the signs in the sky, they only count 12. But there's another nuance we should understand if we're counting signs. That is that there should be counted 36 signs, not 12.
Oh, wait, 30. So we're going from 12 to 13, and I could understand the precedent of 13 inheritances down to 12. But how are we getting to 36?
This goes to the principle called decans.
Okay.
Decans is where you divide the sky once again in 10-degree segments, 360 degrees, 10 times 36, meaning each sign gets 3 sets of 10 degrees.
All right.
So you'll
three
have
for each 30-degree set.
Yeah. So you'll have 12 actual zodiac signs, but then you have 3 different versions of each zodiac signs. So in the art or the science of reading the sky, you'll have 3 different zodiac signs, meaning a first decan Aries, a second decan Aries, third decan Aries, so on and so forth.
All right. So how does the number 13 work in, even though they got a precedent for 13 original tribes of Israel?
It's just simply they don't count the 13th. They only count the 12.
Okay.
And that we don't know it by the 13 tribes of Israel. We know it by the 12 tribes of Israel. Think of it as almost as like a disinheritance.
Well, and I thought there was originally 12 sons. So where's the 13th coming from anyway, too?
In the Bible story, what happens is Joseph has 2 sons, and both get an inheritance, a blessing. And then there's one that's left out of it that was kind of disinherited. You can argue it that way.
Ephraim and Manasseh.
I
know the 2 sons, and so he split his inheritance, and then it goes back to 12 land divisions.
Right. When you get into the Bible and the tribes of Israel, you're not talking about Joseph as a tribe. You're talking about his 2 sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, as separate tribes.
Okay, so I can kind of see. Now, you're going back and forth with Israel's and Jacob's children, 12 and 13, inheritances, all of those split. That really does sound like what you do with the zodiac signs, too.
Yeah, and so one idea to kind of wrap up is there is like a big difference between like a first decan Aries if you're getting into reading people's personalities and stuff, though. So there are decans, and the first decan is like a little more I am energy, more about the self. That can be somebody that draws in people more to themselves, and then they make it more about themselves. Or it could also be somebody that goes more reclusive a little bit.
Yeah.
And then second decan signs or energies are more the type that like to hang out with like a small group of friends, or hang out with their family members a little bit more, or their close buddies, or their partner. They kind of cruise a little bit more in like smaller groups usually. And then the third decan signs are just bigger, and they can go be big with a lot of people. They can be in crowds, and that's one of the ways you can read on whether somebody's more kind of reclusive And it's more nuanced than that, but where somebody's more reclusive or more like kind of the party animal, you can kind of start to see that in each other's charts. And keep in mind, before you just like apply this by just the sun sign, astrology is way more deeper than just the sun sign. Keep in mind that there is more to it, and that is a very overgeneralization. But check out our channel for getting more in-depth insights that reveal more on that topic.
All right. Thanks, Bryan.